In today's episode, we're making Hannah Glasse's very simple yet wonderful vermicelli soup. Thanks for joining us today on 18th Century Cooking with James Townsend and Son. Vermicelli was not used in a diverse set of dishes in English 18th century cooking. Really, it was kind of relegated to a couple of very specialty groups. The vast majority of recipes that use vermicelli are recipes just like this one that are a very thin kind of a soup with the vermicelli noodles as sort of a thickening kind of a base to give it a little bit of differentiation. I'm going to go ahead and read this recipe because it's just so simple. It says, take 3 quarts of broth and 1 of gravy mixed together. 1/4 pound of vermicelli blanched in 2 quarts of water and put into the soup. Boil it up for 10 minutes. Season it with salt if it wants any, and put it in your tureen with a crust of French roll baked. We can be tricked by some of these ingredients. The broth is simple enough, but it says it calls for gravy, 1 of gravy. Now, gravy in the 18th century, at least in 18th century English cooking, tended to be the juice that was extracted out of cooked meat. So they would actually roast meat, then they would slash it and press the juices out of it to get a really, really thick kind of a broth. In this recipe, instead of using the gravy she calls for, I'm going to use a bone broth. Let's go ahead and put this together. I'm going to cut this recipe down by into a thirds because it makes quite a bit. I've got a quart of beef broth. I've already warmed it up here. I've got about half that amount of some nice thick bone broth that I'm going to add to that. And she calls for vermicelli. I've got, say, 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces of that, and she calls for it to be blanched. So this is put into some boiling water, and then I've strained that back out. Now it's time to put this on to boil. Once it gets boiling, it should take about 10 minutes. Our soup's ready. Let's dish it out. As with most of these soup recipes, she does call for bread in the bowl, or a sops kind of a bread that goes in there. Let's go ahead and give this a try, see if it really needs any seasoning. You know, that bone broth really brought in enough saltiness all by itself. Might need a touch, maybe even a little bit of pepper. I put pepper on everything. But no, it's an excellent, very, very simple soup, right out of the 18th century cookbooks. If you get a chance, it's a perfect cold weather dish, perfect for a day like today. So if you've liked this episode today, make sure to check out the related videos that I've got featured below.